Hey guys, welcome to A Counselor's Journey. I am here and I am starstruck with Jennifer Sneeden, who hopefully, as clinicians in private practice, you're navigating out there. Know her name. You need to know her name. How are you, Jennifer?
I am fantastic. And thank you for that. And yeah, I am so excited to be on this podcast today because I love the story of your journey. Like you just knew this was the direction that you were headed and the work that you're doing on this podcast to encourage others. So I'm super excited to be part of it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, guys, before we dove into this episode, I was going back in my memory with Jennifer, and I was sharing with her that when I was in grad school, I think I missed out on going on a conference. My professor came back and brought back her book. It's a four step formula. Was that right?
Yeah.
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 And I tore that thing left and right, just reading it, which is really interesting, because certain things stick. And then you were telling me that you're like, it's nice that, to know that your message and the work that you're doing has helped. So I was just like, still am just so thankful. Still follow your email list, still read the things that you put out there, because I believe in role models. And you've definitely been one for me. And hopefully, everyone here listening at A Counselor's Journey, they're able to, connect with you and continue to, be part of the community, but also, connect with you too.
Well, thank you. And, there's no way I would have been where I am if it weren't for my role models and the coaches and the mentors that helped me along the way. And I think that we're just building this chain that the whole field is getting better. And we, not only as clinicians, but as business people as well, are growing. And we have so much more to offer to the world than we did, even 50 years ago. And that's what I love about this, because we're all just out there creating together. And man, it's so much fun.
I know. I love that you will use that word creating. Like I'll get on Instagram and I love just different clinicians posting like 6 ways to beat anxiety, or here's some infographics of the grief stages. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this shit is nice. I wish I would have had
Yes.
this in grad school. It's such a beautiful way to learn. It's
Right.
colorful, it's immersive. So I like that you brought that up.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you talk about 6 ways to do this or something like that. I think when we go into private practice, we so often have this idea of, oh my God, I've got to market and I've got to get clients and I have to get clients before somebody else does, right? And it's just
Yeah.
when we don't understand marketing, it's a very um, uncomfortable, almost icky
Yeah.
mentality. But if we can think of marketing is tips to beat anxiety, and I know a lot about anxiety, and my potential clients are struggling. And I have this space on Instagram where I can create and put it out to them in a way that their lives are going to be impacted. Right. And this is what you're doing with the podcast. It's what I'm doing with the book. It's like I'm creating from a place of service. And to me, this is like the ultimate, because it's never about how do I get clients? How do I get clients? It's always about how do I create something that's going to have a really profound impact, and then people are just naturally going to want to take the next step with me.
Yeah, I love that. It highlights that sense of, be who you are, be your genuine self, don't change in
Yeah.
any way, and then share your message, knowing that there's so many people out there that are going to just hear it and connect with it.
Yep.
You're absolutely
Absolutely.
right. I wanted to have you today for a lot of reasons. This is going to be a 24-hour episode. I'm just kidding. I'm just going to steer you
Let me
away.
call the kids
Because
and tell them I won't be home tonight.
basically, at some point, mom would just run through here and be like, come on, let's go jump on the trampoline. You've worked too
Okay,
much.
so when COVID hit, I still come into the office. My team isn't here anymore. So it's now just me all alone, because otherwise my kids would be all in the background. So now I have a little bit of separation here.
Well, there you go. Um, I, I, I'll thank my wife. We own the practice together, and she does an amazing job. We have like days where I'm working and then days where she's working. So right now they're at the
Perfect.
science center, having an awesome time, and then I'm here
Nice.
having an awesome time. Otherwise, you would hear like dump from just the kids, 6 year old, 4 year old. They
Yep.
got a lot of energy.
And there's no mic in the world that can filter out kids' energy.
No. It's funny because I tried that. I tried to buy like all these filters, and then I was talking to my wife, and I said, "Look, they're just too loud. There's just, we got to figure out some kind of alternative." But
Yep.
they're kids at the end of the day.
Yes.
Topic for today. We're going to look at how to get your phone ringing during COVID. And COVID at this point, March is when we got hit pretty bad. Is that right? And it still seems like, the same effect is taking place. We're adapting as humans adapt. But as far as my community, I still see that practitioners face similar struggles. And I kind of wanted to pry your brain, wanted to have you on here, with that topic. What should clinicians out there do? What actions should they take when it comes to getting that phone to ring, converting clients, and so forth?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been really interesting because as you said, it's what, like about 6 months, right? A little less than
Mm-hmm.
6 months. And it's in some regards, it's the greatest opportunity that we as clinicians have ever been offered. Because I think up to this point, we still have been sort of doing what Freud did. You come into my office for an hour every week, you sit on the couch, and we do this week after week after week until I pronounce you done, right?
Yeah.
And now that most of us, where I live in Delray Beach, Florida, we're still shut down. And most places around the world, it's not go sit in your therapist's office anymore. And now there's so many other amazing opportunities. If we can think of ourselves as problem solvers rather than as clinicians. See, I'm trained as a family therapist and as a hypnotherapist. And if I see myself as I'm a family therapist and you and your partner are going to come and sit on my couch and we're going to do the Gottman method or whatever, and then off you go, I'm very limited in what I have to offer. But if I see myself as a problem solver, like, how do I help you with anxiety? How do I help you with the fact that you're 24/7 with the people that you love and they're driving you bananas? Now I can really reframe it in a different way. And so what I've seen is really, quite frankly, this split that's happened over the past 6 months, where some of my clients, my highest level clients at my mastermind group, I had a call with them last week. They're all busier than they have ever been in the history of their
Nice.
practices. I know, it's amazing. But then what we see on the other side of this is people who are just really struggling for clients. And I think what happened, I'm not sure if you've seen this as well, but I think what happened is prior to COVID, there were people that were like just sort of squeaking by, like
Yeah.
I'm maybe making what's average for a therapist around $40,000 a year. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sort of getting enough clients to give me hope. And then with COVID, all of these problems that they had been able to deal with got blown up. And so what I saw is this real split of the people that had the marketing systems in place are doing exceptionally well and busier than ever. And the people that were just sort of either building it, maybe like your audience, they're new and they didn't have the marketing system in place yet, or, they had some fundamental flaws that they just hadn't fixed yet. They're the ones that are really struggling. And so when we think about how do you get your phone ringing, I think about it really in two ways. The first is, what is the problem that you're solving for people? Because maybe in February, it was okay to be a couples counselor. But in August, in September, in October, you've got to be, I'm going to help you communicate, or I'm going to
Yeah.
divorce prevention, or, living civilly under the same roof, right? So the problem that your client is facing today is not the problem that they were facing in February. And it's up to us as the clinician to modify what we're offering as a way to help them with that. So let me give you an example. A client of mine actually in the UK, she works with eating disorders, and she really felt as though people just didn't care anymore when they went into lockdown. I think it was about April. So I got to put this on hold. It wasn't such a big deal for them anymore because they had bigger issues to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So she was actually losing a lot of clients. And what we did is we put together where she does a 15-minute daily check-in, and she calls it the binge eating prevention. And 15 minutes a day, she's on the phone with the clients and just checking in, what's your emotional state? What's your plan for today? And her clients love it
I
because
bet, yeah.
they can find 15 minutes. You can, you know how it is with kids. You can lock yourself in the closet for 15 minutes if you have to. And it's not this big, huge commitment, but she's there for them every single day. And her practice has blown up since she did this. I have a client who does play therapy. Same thing, like parents are like, online play therapy, not going to happen. So what she did is she transitioned to parent coaching. So now she's not doing work with the kids, but she's doing the work with the mom to help them support the kids, because moms are just, and dads, parents are just super stressed right now, right?
Yeah.
So how do we as clinicians rethink what we're offering to our clients so that we can be really spot on with what they need?
As you said all of that, I think I'm doing the appropriate response, and as I'm just letting it sink in, because you're absolutely right. We have to meet them where they're at. I forget who posed it out there and said, no one wakes up at night and says, I could really go for some EMDR right now. Right. They're sharing real, not that that's not real, but just something a little more average Joe, authentic.
Yep,
I don't want to get divorced. I don't want my kids to go through that. That's what they're
that's right.
waking up at, 2 a.m. thinking. And then how does a clinician address that pain point? So you're a strong advocate for becoming problem solvers. Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I think we are problem solvers as clinicians,
Oh
right? Like
yeah.
what we do, but somehow that doesn't come through in our marketing. Like we've got this perception that our marketing has to be very clinical and dry, and I'm a Gottman level 42 certified with 76 years of experience, right? We have this idea of what our marketing needs to be, and so there's this disconnect for our clients, because now more than ever before they want that human connection with us. So when we can, it's not necessarily, maybe it's shifting your work, maybe it's coming up with a really innovative program or group online. It could be that, it could just be the way you talk about your work in a much more human kind of way that people can connect with. Not you as a highly qualified, all of these initials after your name, but you as a person that really gets them and wants to help.
Yeah. I've definitely noticed that, like whenever I'm engaging in consulting, I'll read individuals' websites or bios, and it's beautiful, years of experience,
Yep.
tons of certifications that I can even pronounce. They need 6 business cards, for that amount of certifications and licenses, which is amazing. I mean, they've worked thoroughly.
So
But then
how about this one, Juan? And then they think they need one more certification to start getting clients, right?
it's always
I
that one
just need
more.
one more certification and then the clients will come to me.
I know. And does that come from grad school?
Yes.
That
Oh my
mentality.
gosh. I so think so. Like
So do I. Yeah.
we're kind of gluttons for education, right? So we've spent all these years with, I'm going to read this, I'm going to spew it back to you in a paper, you're going to give me a grade, and I'm going to be off on my way. And we're really good in that model, right? You're going to certify me or grade me or license me or supervise me. And that model just works for us because it's somebody else's approval of us.
Yeah.
And in business, holy cow, that's not. For
No.
me, that was the hardest thing when I came out of practice, into practice. Like, I got to figure this out on my own,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody's going to tell me the right way to do it. And wait a minute, I'm going to make mistakes. Like, this was a
Yeah.
big deal for me. And so I can understand why somebody new to practice has that behind them. Like, you're scared, you don't know what to do. And so, of course, you go looking for another certification. Or me, I'm like, well, I guess I need my PhD, right? Like, we just come up with these stories about what's going to fix the problem by doing what's comfortable to us.
Yes. And for me, it does relate so much to grad school. I mean, I would be thrown, especially in conferences, get this certification, add this one on. And I mean, and it would make sense, clinically, I would say, okay, if I get, EMDR or solution this, then I'm going to be able to work with these populations. But then comes the core question, if someone's struggling with anxiety and their pain point is, I get so anxious at work that I can't focus. Did grad school at a fundamental base already provide me with that? Yes. The other things I could add on there, but maybe add them on strategically, as I build revenue, toss some of those to the side for the credentials, but not the other way around.
I completely agree. I think the credentials, the certifications they do give you an advantage. As a couples counselor, I took every single Gottman thing I could take. But what you have to realize is that doesn't give you a marketing advantage. If the problem you want to solve is, I want to get better at treating anxiety, great, go get all the anxiety certifications you can get. If the problem you're trying to solve is, I need more clients, there's no anxiety certification that's going to fix that for you. That's okay, I got to roll up my sleeves and get a little messy and figure this out along the way.
Yeah. So now that, individuals out there listening, they're able to say, okay, deep breath, I need to solve a problem, right? From there, what's the next step? You mentioned programs, or, like 6 things on Instagram, a post. What's the next step that they can do consistently to support them in getting the phone to ring?
Okay, so this is the $64,000 tip right here. Okay.
There we go.
And I'm sure this is very similar to what you say when you're working with people. I don't even really care what you do, just do it consistently, right? That I used to think, this is embarrassing, but I'm going to just say it because I think there's at least one other person out there thinking this. I used to think that the fact that I had a beautiful office and a nice leather couch and really well-designed business cards, that I was going to get clients. And I mean, that's just so ridiculous. It doesn't happen that way. But as you said, grad school, like this was the expectation I had in my mind, right? And I think what people need to know, if they're in the beginning phases, the biggest thing you need to do is go consistently and do something. Because the biggest problem that I see for people is they are their own best kept secret, right?
Yeah.
And you've got to find a way. I categorize like new stage practices as $0 to $40,000. And usually you can fall into randomly enough clients to get yourself to $20,000 or $30,000, right? Like they're just going to sort of find you.
Yeah.
But to get into that next stage, that 40 to 80,000, which I call an evolving practice, you need a strategy for people to know you exist. Because if you're your own best kept secret, you're never going to get to that. I use 6 figures kind of a benchmark, but you're never going to really break through that $40,000 mark because you're always going to get a client here, a client there. You're never going to have a steady flow. So I don't really care what you do it consistently. If video's your thing, get a YouTube channel. If writing's your thing, go on Medium. Social media, blogging, like there's so many ways for you to get your message out into the world. And if you can do it consistently for 60 days, like you're going to have more clients than you know what to do with. But I think the biggest thing that happens is people go out. So I'll use me as an example again, okay? Because I made all the mistakes. I would put a video on YouTube and it was a good video, right? And I wouldn't get any clients. So I would say, well, clearly video is stupid. Obviously video is never a way to get clients.
Yeah.
So I'm just never going to make another video. Clearly the answer is Facebook. And I would post on Facebook and I wouldn't get any clients. And then I would say, well, Facebook is stupid. That was a dumb idea. Let me go blog, right? And so I would kind of hop through all these things, never sticking with it. And I see this so much with practices that are struggling. They're focused on me, right? And I get it, because when I was was struggling, I was very focused on me too. But it's like, I need clients. I need clients. Where are the clients? Where are the clients? Oh, you got my client and now there's one less client for me. It's just an icky place to be. But
Hmm.
when you can focus on consistently giving value, giving value, giving value, this is where you're really providing a great service to the world. And I promise you, if you pick something and do it consistently, you never have to worry about clients again, because they will be eager to work with you.
Okay. I like that. So be able to give value, make sure it's consistent, solve the problem. From your experience, have you noticed that there's certain avenues less effective or more effective? I get the question. I asked it a lot of times. People will say, "Well, I see that you blog, Juan, in your
Right.
blog, but do people actually read it? Is it converting, or should I, do Facebook lives or Instagram lives?" What do you think about that?
Okay, so this is always my first question to people. What are you actually going to do? Right? Brene Brown has this quote, which I'm probably misquoting, but she says, the mile you walk is always better than the 3 miles you don't run. And I would rather have you write a blog that gets seen by 2 people than not do a YouTube video, right? So I think of it in buckets of the written word, video, and then audio. And
Okay.
if audio is your thing, great. Get a podcast, do it weekly, whatever, get that going. If video is your thing, YouTube, Facebook, whatever it is, get that going. If writing is your thing, Medium is a great place to get started on writing. There's a few other places to go there. I think it's what is the one that you can actually commit to doing. I love to write. I just released my 3rd book. Like, I love to write, but not every week, right? I want to
Yeah.
wake up at 5:30 one morning, write 2,000 words, and then not write again for a month. So blogging is not a great avenue for me because I'm not willing to discipline myself to do it consistently.
Yeah.
Video, yeah, turn on the lights. I don't even care if I have makeup on, turn on the camera and off I go. So video is my primary strategy, but for other people, it's too much. Like, what camera do I use? And the lighting sucks. I mean, look, my lighting's not great here. I don't even care, right?
Yeah.
So what is the medium? The biggest thing you said consistency. Like, what are you going to do consistently? And then next, what are you going to actually have fun with? I love doing video. I'm like, I enjoy it. So find that platform that you really enjoy that you're going to be willing to do consistently, because otherwise it becomes a form of self-sabotage. If you tell me you want to blog and you hate writing, right? This is mindset.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're now setting yourself up to stay stuck because you're saying you're going to do something that you're never going to do.
Okay. That makes sense. So a lot of it too has to do with the individual, making sure you get to know yourself, and you're able to say this speaks to me. I'm cool with writing, right? I'm okay with it every week, and then I'm gonna take that journey.
Yes.
Okay. Here's another question, and it relates. What do you think about paying for marketing to get your phone ringing versus the organic route to get your phone ringing?
So tell me what you mean by paying for marketing.
Google ads, Facebook
Mm,
ads. If someone says, well, instead of writing all these blogs, I'm going to pay for a marketing team thousands
yeah.
of dollars to make a campaign for me, get an ad going, and it'll link right to my website.
Yeah. Oh, okay. This is really good. So I teach my clients there's 2 ways to get clients. There's fast and then there's free. Ideally, you have one of each, but you got to choose. You can't have fast clients or free clients, right? I can set you up with a Google ad and you can have a call later this afternoon. A client of mine a few months ago started a Google local ad. She had 8 calls the next day.
Yeah.
That type of traction you are not going to get from blogging, from YouTube. It just doesn't happen. But by the same token, you have to think about you're building a long-term 10 or 15-year business. And you may be familiar with this one, but I talk about the 3%. The 3% are the people that need a therapist today. Can you see me at 7 o'clock and do you take my insurance, right? They're
Hmm.
2 big criteria.
Yeah.
And there's only so far you can go with those 3%. Quite frankly, I see them as they see all therapists as a commodity, right?
Hmm.
And if you can't see me tonight, then I'm going to call Jennifer. And if she
Yeah.
can't see me, then I'm going to call Michael. And these are the people that are responding to paid ads. And I don't mean to knock them because they need help. They're willing to click the ad and they can be in your door tomorrow. But the clients I always love working with are the clients that say, you know, Juan, I've been listening to your podcast from the beginning. I've gotten so much value. That episode you did on choosing a niche so you don't have the summer slump. Oh my gosh, it made all the difference for me. Do you have any openings that we could work together? Like,
Yeah.
hello, who doesn't want that client,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that client is not going to come to you from paid ad strategies. So what I really recommend for people is, especially as you're talking about people starting out, let's get some money in the door, because there is no worse feeling than, am I going to buy groceries this week? Like, that's the most unsettling feeling in the world. So let's get a paid strategy in that's going to get clients in the door like that. And then let's look at, how do you build what I call the authority positioning? How do
Hmm.
we build that flow? I have a client of mine who was at, this was pre-COVID. She was at a dinner party and somebody came up to her and said, "Oh my God, you're Susan Block. I can't believe it. I followed you forever. Can you possibly see me? Is there any way you could fit me in the schedule?" And that's a client that is eager to do the work,
Yeah.
right?
I hear
And
you.
you're not going to ever get that client from a Google ad or a Facebook ad or whatever kind of ad. So I always say, what's your fast approach, what's your long-term approach, and how do we build both of those out?
Okay. Jennifer, that is the best answer I have ever received when it comes to those two differences. And and then the topic of today was, how to get your phone ringing with COVID. And in the back of my mind, I know the effectiveness of paid ads, all the
Mm-hmm.
way from, YouTube, Pinterest, every social media avenue, you can do paid ads,
Yep,
Google. And someone can today open up a practice, use paid ads, and be full within the week.
absolutely.
You may be $5,000 or $10,000 in the hole, but you could be full. But then
Yep.
you're absolutely right. Are you building a business for a week, or are you building a business for 7 years? You want to sell it. You want to grow it into a practice.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, do you want to slow down that money from ads? And is there anything built organic, right? So are there those clients that, says, "Hey, I've been reading your blog and for like 2 years and I'm ready for
Yes.
counseling,"
Yep,
right?
absolutely. I
Yeah.
had a client come to me a few months ago for coaching, and my coaching programs are fairly expensive. And she said, "I first met you 4 years ago in Philadelphia doing this. I've been following you on Facebook, and I've been saving for the day I can work with you." Well, can you imagine what it's like to work with her? She's like eager to go, and
Yeah.
she does the work. And it's the same thing for therapists too. You have a client that's showing up for appointments, they're doing their homework, they're willing to go deep because you've already established the relationship before they even
Yeah.
call you.
Absolutely. I like that. I think, anyone listening, especially to this episode, really keep that in mind. If you're building a private practice, in a way, I assume you're building it, for the years to come, maybe to sell it, maybe to grow it, to be a franchise, to be something really beautiful and amazing. And I think it's that organic work that you do, that old school, handshaking,
Yeah.
that allows your business to have that legacy, if you will, to have a really strong foundation. You pulled up your book, and I wanted to, so attracting clients in
In
uncertain
uncertain times,
times. So we are living in an uncertain time.
we are.
What's that one about other than the title?
Okay, so this book, I have to tell you, this was released in June, a little over a month ago. And this is all about what the heck to do in COVID and beyond. Because I think, to be a realist, I don't want to be a pessimist, but I think even once we get this pandemic under control, we're going to have economic repercussions for another year or 18 months. And I think it's incumbent upon us to say, I'm not going to sit back, cross my fingers, and hope for the best. I think it's incumbent upon us to say, I have important work to do in the world. I've got big goals for a six-figure practice. So
Mm-hmm.
what can I do today to get me there? So this book is all about how to corona-proof your business, how to
Okay.
coronavirus-proof your business. And what I talk about in here is I give the 4-step model. Of course, I've worked with this for years, updated for coronavirus, and then really the specific things that you can do
Mm-hmm.
to connect with clients, because the way we connect with clients is very different than we connected with the clients 6 or 8 months ago.
Yeah.
And what are you offering clients? What's your marketing message? So I would recommend this book for anybody who really needs very specific, what do I do now that coronavirus is here and my practice is struggling because of it? Or for anybody who's saying, okay, I'm starting a business in the face of COVID.
Yeah.
And I mean, but let me tell you, if you're starting your business right now in 2020, you are so lucky. Here's why. If you can make it through this, you can make it through anything. There is nothing the universe can throw
Very
at you
true.
in the next 30 years. Anything that happens, you can be like, no sweat. I made it through coronavirus and the recession that followed. I got this. You are just going to know that you can do it. And this is a fantastic time to be building a business.
Absolutely. Your books always like that they are thin, that because for me it's like, okay, if I open it, it's going to tell me exactly what I want. No fluff. I don't have to go into detail. I'm already stressed enough as it is in building this private practice and managing everything else that I'm managing. So just give me the nuggets to the point and walk me through it.
So thank you. When I read a business book, and I love to read, I always read with a pen in my hand. I want to be able to open the book, circle, underline. And so
Mm-hmm.
yes, the book it is fairly thin. It is I don't even know how many pages, but it is very much actionable. Like
Yeah.
like a workshop in a book. So you're going to be able to take it and do it. And it's free. Did I say that?
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, listen, you guys, I so want to get this book in the hands of everybody that needs it that I bought cases of them, and I'm happy to send them to free to anybody who wants one. You just pay the shipping and handling. So it's the attractingclientsbook.com, and it's $5.95 for shipping and handling, and we'll get you out a copy. My daughter is actually the shipping department. So
Okay.
she sends out the books, the attractingclientsbook.com, and we'll get you a copy of it, because I really want as many people as need this to have it in their hands, because I mean, my gosh, Juan, never in the history of the world have people needed mental health providers like they do
Yeah.
right now. And if we have people over here struggling, needing us, and
Mm-hmm.
we're over here struggling, needing clients, if this
Yeah.
book can bring people and their clients together, everybody's going to benefit from that.
Yeah, no, I certainly think so. That mindset there was something that really drove a lot of the podcast, where I thought about, I used to work in intensive in-home, and I would connect with so many people in the communities sector of mental health. And the big term there was B for burnout. I had an amazing supervisor, and he transitioned out to go into, I think, financial institution, that kind of work. But he had shared with me that he was burnt out. He was just tired. And I mean, at the time, I think I was like in my early 20s, like, fresh kid from grad school doing your practicum, I think. And he must have been around my age, 30s, 40s, somewhere around there. And
Burnt out.
he was an awesome supervisor. I mean, knew his clinical stuff left and right. So then the question came, if there's people like you, people who are doing what we're doing here, of let's teach you how to build a private practice so that you can keep helping people. You can keep
Right.
doing the work that you want to do it. And you're not stressed by it. You're able to live your ideal life. You're able to spend time with your kids, be an awesome parent, an awesome you. Then let's do that. And I love that you have that in the book. I love that it's free. I'm going to put that in the show notes so everyone can check it out. Before we close for today, I almost said that as if I was in a counseling session before we close for today.
Before we close
before,
for today,
before we wrap
are
up,
you going to ask
just
me for my credit card or a check?
do you want to pay in which form? No, just kidding.
Should we book for next week?
Exactly. Everyone out there, other than the book, how can they connect with you if they wanted to work with you? You mentioned mastermind, consulting. how can they do that? And then I'll make sure to list it on the show notes.
Yeah, absolutely. So my website is jennifersneeden.com. You can get lots of great information there. The book, again, it's a really good place to start. It's a ton of value. We'll send it to you for free. It's the attractingclientsbook.com. And we have our first ever virtual 2-day event, which I'm super excited about, October 1st and 2nd. And you can get information about that at privatepracticebreakthrough.com.
Awesome. Well, it has been a pleasure. I'm going to share all that so everyone can connect with it. I hope that you have a really good day. And again, thank you, Jennifer. Truly, it's been amazing to have you on here to listen, to get to poke at you a little bit so that you can give, everyone out there, the audience, nuggets, because they've helped me so much. So thank you.
You are very welcome. This has been a pleasure being here. So thank you for having me on.